Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning for our Multifaith service of readings and reflection. My name is Bavli. I'm one of the spiritual care chaplains here at Mackenzie Health. Thank you again for joining. So this is a service of Multifaith readings and reflection. So therefore, you'll see throughout the service prayers and scriptures which represent some of our multi-faith community. We encourage everyone to participate in all aspects of the service and to enjoy and celebrate those aspects that they have found most supportive and helpful to you. We hope that everyone will learn something new today, and in that spirit, keep an open mind throughout. Today's theme of our service is on hope. So we're going to start with an opening reflection, and this is a poem by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words, and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. Our next reading comes to us from the Hindu tradition, and this comes from the Vedas. Universal order and truth were born of blazing spiritual fire, and hence night was born, and hence the ocean of space. From the ocean of space was born time, the year ordaining days and nights, and the ruler of every moment. In the beginning, as before, the Creator made the sun, the moon, the heaven and the earth, the firmament, and the realm of light. Our next reading will come to us from the Jewish tradition, and this comes from the book of Proverbs. The Lord created me at the beginning of His work, the first of His acts of old. Ages ago I was set up at the first, before the beginning of the earth. When there was no depths, I was brought forth, when there was no springs abounding with water. Before the mountains had been shaped, before the hills I was brought forth. Before He had made the earth with its fields, or the first of the dust of the world. When He established the heavens, I was there, and He drew a circle on the face of the deep. When He made firm the skies above, when He established the fountains of the deep, and when He assigned the sea its limits, so that the waters might not transgress His command, when He marked out the foundations of the earth. Then I was beside Him, like a master workman. I was daily His delight, rejoicing before Him always, rejoicing in His habited world, and delighting in the sons of all humanity. Our next reading will come to us from the Muslim tradition, and this comes from Surah 27. Praise be to Allah, who has created the heavens and the earth, and who sends down rain from the sky, who has made the earth firm to live in, made rivers in its midst, who listens to the distressed when He calls on Him, who relieves its suffering, and who guides you through the depths of darkness. Our next reading comes to us from the Christian tradition, and this comes from the book of Corinthians. When the perishable has been clothed with the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality, then the saying that is written will come true. Death has been swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? The sting of death is sin, and the power of sin is the law. But thanks be to God. He gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. And our next reading will come to us from the Buddhist tradition, and this comes to us from the Wisdom in 8,000 Lines. I pay homage to the perfection of wisdom. She is worthy of homage. She is unstained The entire world cannot stain her. She is the source of light. And from everyone in the triple world, she removes darkness, and she leads away from the blinding darkness caused by the defilements and by wrong views. In her we can find shelter. Most excellent are her works. She makes us seek the safety of the wings of enlightenment. She brings light to the blind, and she brings light so that all fear and distress may be forsaken. As the donor of the jewel of all the Buddha Dharmas, she brings about 10 powers. She cannot be crushed. She protects the unprotected with the help of the 4 grounds of self-confidence. She is the antidote to birth and death. She has a clear knowledge of her own being of all dharmas, for she does not stray away from it. The perfection of wisdom of the Buddhas, the Lords, set in motion the wheel of the law. Well, good morning everyone, and thank you again for joining us for today's service. So, as I mentioned earlier, our theme for today is on hope. So I'm sure that we all have hopes, and hope can take on many different forms. I am hopeful that the Leafs one day will win a championship. Believe me, it's a hope that I have. That hope will never die for me, no matter how often they disappoint us. It is a good time to be a sports fan in the city. The hockey season starting up, the basketball season starting up, and so, this time of the year always brings people together if you're a sports fan. The Raptors won a couple of years ago. I'm a big basketball fan, so I was very happy about that. So, what can go wrong, right? People might tell you that they have performed well in the previous years, right? Both the Leafs and the Raptors. But who cares? That's the past. This is now. As you could tell, I love sports, and more specifically the Raptors. I'm a big basketball guy. I mentioned that last week. I'm a basketball junkie, and I'm also very hopeful the Raptors will win this year as well. But why am I so hopeful? After all, what does hope look like? We all have our journeys. I know you do, I do, we all do. Being in a hospital bed or looking at your neighbor doesn't seem hopeful at all. Every day we use that small magical word, hope. It's tough to live, or even make it through one day without hope. What is hope? Based on all the examples I just gave, and the readings we have heard so far, we can maybe define hope like this. Hope is a vision for better days that changes us in the present. Hope is a vision for better days. There's something up ahead, around the corner, in sight, and it's good. But that good future isn't just abstract, because it reaches in and transforms us in the present. So, for example, I'm hoping to get an A in my class. That hope will at least motivate me to study right now. If I'm hoping for a raise at work, I might work harder. If I want world peace, I can stop shouting at my own children. As a child, I knew well that the power of hope around this time of the year, with Thanksgiving just passing and with a lot of different festivities coming up for us. I knew that my parents might buy me something for Christmas. I had a vision for better days with better presents and better things coming my way as a child. But that also changed my attitude and actions as time went on. The vision for the future drove me to search catalogs, magazines, and make careful lists that I can make careful lists of the presents that I wanted. It would drive me to hunt under my parents' bed in order to sneak a peek at better days coming upon me. Hope is a vision for better days that change us in the present. Hope sometimes can look very different from what I described. There are people who have stage 4 cancer, people who have had heart attacks, and people who seem to be coming close to the end of life. Not only do I ask you, but challenge you to reflect on these people as you contemplate in your mind about how you will walk with them on their journey of hope. How does hope look like for them? Is there hope at all? I'm not sure if there is an answer, but I believe the one thing that we can control is the actions that we do. One way to unpack this hope is to see that we are one big, interconnected community. One of the marvelous things about community is that it enables us to welcome and help people in a way that we couldn't do it separately. When we pool our strength and share the work and responsibility, we can welcome many people, even those in deep distress, and perhaps help them find self-confidence and inner healing. Sadly, we're losing something about community today, about accepting people who are different. If we have a culture of winning, a culture of success, a culture of knowledge, those who have less knowledge are not winning. So we're in a culture of huge divisions today. We need to teach ourselves, how can we lose? Because the more we come close to losing, the more we begin to see the reality of what it is to be human, which is to accept our weakness and to discover that all humans, no matter where they are beautiful. So many people are running around doing lots of things, but they're controlled by anguish, anxiety. Hope is the light at the end of the tunnel when we hold each other's hands and sit in silence with each other. It's not an easy task, and today's readings paint an image of how we can continue to hope. Our opening reflection tells us that hope purchased the soul and has the ability to guide us as we seek to soar high in the air. The Hindu reading says that if we allow hope to penetrate us, that our space will be open as wide as the space of the ocean. The Jewish reading tells us that God is constantly constructing us in His image and likeness, which is transcendent in the good and the beautiful creation that He has made. The Muslim reading tells us that if we learn to trust each other, that our hope will allow us the space to overcome our suffering and darkness. The Buddhist reading tells us that if we constantly seek the light, we will find shelter in the hope that is manifested from that very same light. And finally, the Christian reading tells us that if we overcome death, it is because we have hope in each other and in the actions that allow us to serve each other. So, will I continue to hope for the Leafs? Yes. Because as long as we can hope, then we can keep believing. But something I notice is that a community is always being created when its members accept that we are not going to achieve great things, that they are not going to be heroes, but simply live each day with new hope. Like children, in the wonderment as the sun rises and in thanksgiving as it sets. Communities being created when they have recognized that the greatness of humanity is to accept our insignificance, our human condition, and to thank the Almighty for having put in a finite body the seeds of eternity, which are visible in small and daily gestures of love and forgiveness. The beauty of humanity and the hope we live in is in the devotion to the wonder of each day. So, I will conclude to you by saying, I will continue that and hope that the Leafs will win one day, as long as you continue to hope in each other. I'd like to offer a concluding reflection to close off our service for today. May all beings be happy and free. May you recognize the power and the beauty within you and within all. May you nurture the seeds of your becoming. May music be like a prayer, your feet a drum to the beat of your heart. May your ministry be rooted in the power of Mother Earth. May your light sparkle. May your heart grow green and healthy and whole. May generosity of spirit flow you like a river. And may your dreams of freedom be fulfilled. I'd like to thank you all for joining us for today's service. I hope you found this helpful to you. If you'd like to reach out to one of the spiritual care chaplains here, please refer to the spiritual care icon on your tablets to get our contact information. Otherwise, you can ask your nurse as well too to reach out to us if you need any kind of support. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you again for next Tuesday. Thank you.